Hey everybody, I'm Marc Lee Shannon, and I'm your host for Recovery Talks, the podcast. I'm here at the 91.3, the Summit Studios, and I just finished recording another podcast, which went, I think, pretty decently. But you know what? If you'd have told me 8 years ago that I'd be standing here recording a podcast in this studio, I would have bet against you. And the reason is I am a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorder. So how did that happen? Well, I guess it was never something that I set out to do. I mean, I look at pictures of me when I was 10 years old playing baseball, and I never once did that kid say he wanted to grow up to be a person that struggled with alcohol and with illegal substances. But somewhere along the way, I got off the path. Why is that? I don't know. You know, did I have a predisposition for it? Did I behave myself into it? You bet. Those are probably both correct answers. And the other thing is, you know, once it started, once I found that I couldn't stop using, the best test is where you say to yourself, you know, hey, I'm not going to do it tonight. And if you cannot do it tonight, then you probably are not there yet. But for me, I told myself over and over again, I was not going to do it tonight, and I couldn't not do it tonight. And the other side of it is once I started, all game was on. Let's go. I couldn't stop. So, you know, my journey lasted a long time through, you know, recovery. Was in a 12-step program, fell out of a 12-step program with a Mike's Hard Lemonade. That started me on a path of about 11 years of just misery. Finally and eventually, I ended up at St. Thomas Hospital in Akron, Ohio, in the detox ward, and it was there where I had a spiritual experience that made me understand that if I could find a way to help other people, then maybe I could stay sober. That's one of the reasons I'm coming to you today for this. You know, what happened on my sobriety date, it's hard to say because I had just gotten out of detox a few months ago, but I kept having those 6 weeks fall down. And every 6 weeks, for some reason or another, I would get overwhelmed. Maybe it was the post-acute withdrawal symptoms. I'm not sure. But after that, I would you know, just find a way where I'd have a bad one night. But somehow, some way on November 9th of 2014, I had my last drink. And my sobriety date is November 10th, 2014. You know, what does my typical day in recovery look like? This is it. Looking around, we got people behind the camera. You know, we got people on camera. We're doing interviews. I've got gigs this week. This week for me is rehearsals and gigs and presentations at treatment centers. And that's what I get to do today. Again, if you'd have told me 8 years ago that this would be my story, I would have bet against you. You know, what would I say to someone who is trying to get sober? What I would say is, here's this guy that has a bad car that doesn't work, and then, you know, he knows the car doesn't work, and he keeps trying to, you know, explain to himself that, you know, hey, I'm going to do this with the car, I'll fix the car, you know, and his kids are late for practice, his work is not happy with him, his wife isn't happy with him, everybody's not happy with him because the doggone car doesn't work. It doesn't start sometimes, it breaks down everywhere. And that kind of is an analogy for my way my life was before I got sober. You know, one day this guy is driving this car, and guess what? He's driving in Ohio, and he's got these great big orange barrels, and he's in that one of those single file lines that's like got 60 cars in it. Guess what happens to his car? It breaks down. And you know what? He says to himself, man, here it is again. My car's broken down. Everybody's honking at him. He's not happy. And, you know, he realizes he just can't go on anymore. He's got to fix that car. The next thing you know, he gets a knock on his window. And you know, it's his buddy. And his buddy says to him, dude, what's happening? Is your car broken down again? And starts laughing and goes, man, it's not funny. Not funny. My car's broken down. He goes, oh, yeah, you know what? Guess what? You're in luck because there's a guy that I know that's only 2 blocks over. We can push your car to go get your car get fixed. And this guy's got a big garage. He's got a big thing. And he's going to be able to fix your whole thing for him. And the guy says, really? There's a guy? Yeah, there's a dude. Step 2, there's power that's greater than you. And he decides, sits there in his car, and he looks at his half-eaten sandwich on his thing and the messed up car he's driving along, and he doesn't want to drive this car anymore, and he makes a decision. And his decision is, let's go get the car fixed, buddy. Willingness. Step 3, being willing to be able to make that move and go get your car fixed. And I think that's what happened to me when I finally got into detox. That's a long story about my recovery, but I just want to say to you that it's a super honor for me to be involved in my recovery day. And we can't wait to see you on November 12th. This is Marc Lee Shannon from 91.3 The Summit and Recovery Talks, the podcast, saying we'll see you then.